For the vast majority of the 20th century, the field of psychology operated like a specialized mechanic shop focused entirely on wrecks. The goal was simple: take a broken life, one plagued by depression, anxiety, or trauma, and repair it just enough to reach a baseline of functionality. The prevailing model was the disease model. It could tell us, with incredible precision, what was wrong with us. It had a massive manual that mapped every valley of human misery. But here is the tension we all feel eventually. Is the absence of misery the same thing as happiness?
If you aren't depressed, does that mean you are thriving? Or does it just mean you are neutral? We often assume that if we just fix our flaws, a good life will automatically appear. But early in the new millennium, psychologists Martin Seligman and Christopher Peterson proposed a radical shift. They realized we had a vocabulary for insanity, but no vocabulary for sanity. We knew how to repair the engine, but we had no map for where to drive the car. They realized that a life devoid of illness is not necessarily a life filled with purpose. To understand human flourishing, we needed to stop staring at our cracks and start mapping our pillars. We needed a manual of the sanities. This shift birthed the values in action classification of character strengths and virtues. Think of this as the periodic table of the human spirit. The theory posits that character isn't a single monolithic block of granite. Instead, it is a constellation of 24 distinct, measurable traits, unlike talents, like having a high IQ or perfect pitch, which are largely innate. Character strengths are moral traits. They are muscles we can build.
Talents are valued for what they produce. Strengths are valued for what they are. The researchers scrutinized 2,500 years of human history, from Aristotle to the Upanishads, and found that despite vast cultural differences, humanity generally agrees on 6 core virtues. These are the abstract buckets into which our strengths fall: wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. But how do these actually work in our minds? The theory introduces 3 critical mechanisms. First is the signature strengths. We all possess all 24 strengths to some degree, but we each have a unique top tier, usually comprising 3 to 7 traits. These are called our signature strengths. These are the traits that feel like us. When we use them, we don't feel exhausted. We feel invigorated. It is the difference between writing with your dominant hand versus your non-dominant hand. Both work, but one flows effortlessly. Then there is the golden mean, or the balance. This is where the theory gets sophisticated. A strength is not a binary switch. You don't just have bravery or lack it. The theory draws on Aristotelian ethics to suggest that every strength exists on a bell curve. Virtue lies in the golden mean, the optimal use of a trait. If we underuse curiosity, we become bored or self-involved. If we overuse curiosity, we become intrusive or nosy. The sweet spot is exploring and asking questions without invading privacy. Even a trait like honesty can be weaponized if overused. In the optimal zone, it is authenticity. Pushed to the extreme excess, it becomes brutal honesty, rude, blunt, and lacking in benevolence. Finally, modern research suggests these strengths serve a dual function. They are promoters, pushing us toward well-being and happiness, but they are also protectors. They buffer us against adversity. A person might use the strength of prudence to avoid a financial crisis, while simultaneously using the strength of zest to build a vibrant social life. So how does this constellation of strengths show up in our Tuesday morning staff meeting or our Friday night dinner? First,
We often see a clash between head strengths and heart strengths. In the workplace, we might prioritize the head, judgment, critical thinking, and prudence. We reward the person who analyzes the spreadsheet without error. But the research shows that globally, the strengths most correlated with life satisfaction are actually strengths of the heart. These include love, gratitude, hope, and zest. When we feel unfulfilled at a successful job, it is often because we are forcing our head strengths to run the show, while our heart signature strengths, perhaps kindness or humor, are being starved. We are successful, but we aren't ourselves. We also see the misuse of strengths. This is the dark side. A con artist is often displaying high levels of social intelligence and creativity. They are reading people and generating novel solutions. But without the virtue of justice or humanity to guide them, these strengths become tools of manipulation. This reminds us that a strength requires a moral compass to be truly virtuous. The most practical application of this theory is the intervention known as using signature strengths in a new way. Imagine you identify that appreciation of beauty is your signature strength. The intervention isn't to go visit a museum every day. It is to apply that strength to a mundane task. Perhaps you take a different route to work to notice the architecture, or you take a moment to appreciate the elegant coding of a software problem. The theory suggests that by deliberately deploying your top strengths in new contexts, you increase your agency. You stop being a passenger in your own psychology and start driving. This classification invites us to change the conversation we have with ourselves. For too long, psychology asked, "What is wrong with you, and how do we fix it?" This framework asks, "What is right with you, and how do we build on it?" It suggests that we are not defined solely by our neuroses or our traumas. We are also defined by our capacity for perspective, our instinct for fairness, and our ability to forgive. Recent data from 2025 suggests that the simple act of becoming aware of these strengths, naming them, makes us more optimistic. It turns out that building a good life isn't just about repairing the cracks in the foundation. It is about recognizing the materials we have in abundance and understanding that even in the face of adversity, we have a unique toolkit of sanities waiting to be used.